All right, so method number 2 on calculating the residual squared on your TI-84 involves you using the list completely. So we're gonna go back to using our list, our L1 and our L2, and we're gonna go through the steps of putting those values in. Okay. It's not gonna be terrible, and I think you'll like it better because it does all the math for you. Does that make sense? All right, so let's see how it goes. So the steps that I'm going to be following are the ones underneath what we just found. So we're going to be using that and going from there. So I'm going to open my calculator. I'm going to reset because I'm working with a different stats problem, and it's a really good habit to get in the habit of resetting your calculator, especially when you're doing statistical analysis. Second plus 712. Starting off fresh. Now we're going to be analyzing our homegirl, Jasmine. Let's see how Jasmine did on this problem. Is her residual squared sum going to be smaller than Stella's? Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is going to go stat edit. In stat edit, we're going to be putting in our values. Our L1 is going to be our given X values, and our L2 are going to be our given Y values. 30. Stat edit, where we went yesterday. The stat button underneath the delete sign. After that. All right. We gotta make sure all our values are in. Are all of our values in? They're on your table. All right. Our expected Y value is going to end up in our L3. So we're going to be putting it's going to populate itself in our L3. To make it populate itself, you're going to arrow up to L3. So where it says L3, your L3 has to be bolded. And we're going to type in the given equation. Huh? You arrow it up, and now it's going to be bold. And we're going to type in the given equation. So our equation is 1.09. But remember, our X values are represented by what column? L1, right? So to get L1, you press second 1, and it will put L1 there. And then minus 2.81. So minus 2.81. Okay. Yes. You press second 1, and you'll get L1. Does everyone see the second 1 to get your L1? You're going to press enter, and it does the math. It calculates your actual for you. L1 has been calculated. Once you type it in, you press enter, and it's going to calculate. You would appreciate it. That's our expected. Okay, so now we have our expected values. So our expected values are 29.99, 64.77, 89.84, 132, 35, 161.78, and 198.84. Isn't that so nice? Okay, now we're going to find our difference. To find our difference is going to go in our L4. Can we write that? Our numbers? Yeah. We wrote them on our table. Did you write? What'd you do? No, the only way to do it. Oh, you wrote it in the wrong spot. Yeah. See, their names were on Jasmine, and you did your Stella on Jasmine. Just do it on the other one. Flip it back over. On the inside. Yeah. All right, L4. So in your L4, we're going to go over to L4, and we want to arrow up to L4 where it's bolded. Okay, remember your difference is your actual minus your expected, correct? What represents our actual on our table? And what represents our expected on our table? L3. So we want to tell it to find the difference between L2 and L3. To get L2, you're going to press second L2, and we want to find our difference. So minus second 3, our L3. So we're on L4. We arrowed up to L4, correct? At the top of L4, we now are going to do second 2 to get L2 minus second 3 to get L3. So L2 minus L3. Yeah. Yes, I was about to tell you I made a mistake. It's switched. So on your notes, it should be L2 minus L3, not L3 minus L2. We're following these steps, sir, right here. Because you did your one. It's okay. It's the same values. Just change the equation. It's an easy fix. Okay. And then we hit enter, and guess what it's going to do for us? It does it all for us. So we have 1100s, 2300s, 12 and 1600s, -2 and 3500s, 3 and 2200s, and -8 and 8400s. All right. And then our residual squared means that we're going to take our residual and we're going to square it, right? So in our residual, this is going to be our L5. And L5, we're going to go over, we're going to arrow. We need L5 to be bold in order for us to type. To ensure that we're protecting our negatives, we're going to put parentheses. And again, we're going to be using L4 because that's where our residuals are, right? So we're going to press second 4, and it's going to find our L4, and we're going to square it. So we're putting parentheses L4 squared. Huh?
Oh, the square has to be outside?
Oh, that's if you need to get the square, but you can just use the square.
Then we press enter.
Mm-hmm. You could do it the original way. All right, and now we have our squares. So 0, 1, 2, 5, 3, 53 thousandths, 147 8700ths, 5 and 522 thousandths, 10 and 368 thousandths, and 78 and 146 thousandths. Okay, so you have a choice here. You can manually add these numbers yourself, or you can have the calculator added. Okay, so if you don't want to manually add, to have the calculator add, you're going to go to second mode. Then from second mode, you're going to go to second stat. And you see where it says ops and math. So we're going to go back. So we're going to press second stat. And we're going to arrow over to math. And we wanted to find our sum. Do you see the word sum? So that would be 5. And it's like, you want the sum? I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like adding. And you want the sum of your L5. I made a typo in your notes. It's supposed to be L5. I'm going to show you the corrections here in a second. I just can't do it all at once. So we're going to do second 5, press enter, and we'll do the sum for you. So your sum is 241.97. Okay, I'm going to show you the corrections, the notes here in a second. All right, so you have two ways of doing it. Which way you choose is up to you. So, for now, you're going to do the last one. And you're going to decide, how do you want to do it? You want to do it the first way, method 1, or method 2. But before that, I'm going to make some corrections to your notes. So if you look at your notes, this is based on the calculator not having updates. So there's some changes I got to make first. So notice here, it should be L3 minus L2. I wrote L3 minus L2. It should be L2 minus L3. On the bottom, on option 2, where it says stats using stat on TI-84. So in our notes, it's on the same page. Where Stella's was, those are the steps. Okay, so it should be L2 minus L3. And then when you're finding the residual, you no longer need to do this part. You just have to go to L5, and you're going to use second 4. It's got to do second 4. Take out the stat. Stat is not needed anymore. So we don't need to do stat anymore because it's built into your calculator. You just press second 4, and that's going to give you your L4. And then you're going to square it. To find the sum, you're going to go to second mode. You do not need to clear the screen necessarily. It's not going to make a difference. You gotta love when calculators update. It makes things better, right? Then you're going to go to second stat math 5. And then you're just going to go second 4 and enter. Not 4, should be 5. Should be column 5. So this should be a 5. And those are your corrections because your teacher is human and made mistakes in her notes. All right. So you get to choose which method do you want to do? Do you want to follow Stella's method of doing everything by hand, graphing it, and then tracing the graph, finding the difference on the calculator page, finding the square on the calculator page? Or do you want to use Jasmine's method of using the stat window and letting the stat calculate everything for you in L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5 and following it completely? It is up to you on how you want to do it for Branny. All right. As you finish Branny's method, you then are going to check with your neighbors. And that's
so we do it. The actual Y is L1.
your actual Y is your L2. Remember? So our time in minutes was our L1. Your X is your L1. Your Y is your L2. Yes.